This is the Stupid Things for Love podcast. Today I'm hanging out with the one and only Sean from Texas. It was good to see you on Sunday. My garden's a little like sad without all those plants. Anyway, every year I grow weed in my backyard because I live in California and I'm allowed to do that. But we had these like 6 huge pot plants, and my backyard smelled so good. But I just hate trimming them. So Sean comes and always like harvest and process it. But how did that actually fit in your truck? Because you have like that F-150.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's always challenging. Sometimes the half the plant is kind of sticking out the window, but it's always fun driving home with it. I get a lot of reactions from.
Can people see it? I mean,
yeah,
but I mean, also your truck. He's got like this '80s F-150.
Yeah.
That's got like it's got one hubcap on it, and then like the side panels primer gray. Like it looks like a truck that would be hauling a bunch of weed.
Yeah, I was actually getting some gas, and there's this like homeless dude that came up, and he's like, "Hey man, you got any change?" And I was like, "No, but I got a bunch of weed." And he was like, "Oh shit, yeah, let me get some of that." So I just broke him off a branch. I was like, "You gotta dry it out," but
yeah, right.
Some pretty good shit.
That he's gonna go microwave it for 30 seconds and then smoke it. That's what we used to do. We used to microwave it. If you didn't want to wait for it to dry out, just put it in the microwave for a little while, and it would it'd make it smokable. Yeah. Did your truck still smell this morning?
Oh yeah, dude. It's like so many like dried up leaves and stuff in there now. It's a mess. But I can't finish it until I get the last few plants, and then I'll go vacuum it and clean it out. But
I honestly I want to I love the smell of weed so much. I want to take a branch and just hang it from my rearview mirror as like an air freshener.
Yeah, I mean, dude, my whole apartment's like that right now. And there's like little caterpillars everywhere.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just
there were
find
some
them
caterpillars. Yeah,
just randomly, and they're just like,
it's funny,
just like barely moving. They're like, and I'm like, oh, and since I'm I can't even kill a caterpillar anymore, so I will pick them up, and I don't just throw them out my window. I have to go out and put them on another tree or plant or something,
right? So
they'll be okay. But
yeah,
they're all angry because they're coming down because they're not eating cannabis flower anymore.
Oh yeah, those caterpillars were chill.
They were fucked up.
They were the most relaxed caterpillars you've ever seen.
It's so crazy too. It's like what a great fucking life, man.
Oh, you kidding me? You're born. You just eat weed for the first half of your
yeah,
life.
you're just fucked up.
And then you take a nap and turn into a butterfly.
Yeah, amazing.
Or they don't take a nap. They just wake up in your apartment.
I know everybody says it those butterflies are in rage mode or something because it's excruciating pain when they metamorphose into the
really?
Butterfly. That's what they say.
Butterflies are in rage mode? I did not.
They said that they're in excruciating pain and raging inside, which I think is kind of funny because it's
just because it's caterpillar puberty.
Delicate, yeah.
They're just angsty little teenage caterpillars.
Yeah, so it's what, dude? Okay. But definitely the caterpillars that came off of your pot plants are not raging. Chill. They're fucking chill, dude.
Yeah, they're great. They're the Big Lebowski of caterpillars.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. If you think about it, some of the people that have lived the longest, and they ask them, how come, what's your secret to living, 103, 110? And they've all said it was from smoking weed. And a lot of people don't think about, they think oh, there's some magical thing about in the weed that makes them live longer, but no, it's just because they don't give a fuck, man. And they don't
it's giving a fuck that kills you.
Yeah. And all this anxiety and all this shit. And if you're without that, which weed kind of gives you that, and then you live longer.
Yeah.
It's proven scientific fact. So
but anyway, your truck smells great this morning.
Yeah.
Covered with weed.
It's sticky. The gear shift is all sticky, and the steering wheel,
That's amazing. It's funny. It's so nice, being a grown up, because I really do. I love the smell of weed. I would wear it as like, yeah, I would like rub buds on my armpits as deodorant. Like, I love it. The smell so much.
Yeah, it smells the best.
Yeah.
Dude.
It's nice. I mean, remember all the stuff that we would had to do as kids to like hide the smell. I mean, I feel like for half my teenage years, I smelled like a mixture of weed and Drakkar Noir. I don't know if you remember that
Such
cologne.
a huge fucking thing that went along with
Like
smoking.
the only time I've ever
and people
actually...
don't even know about this now because it's like legal and like dude, gross, especially in Texas.
The only time I've ever worn cologne was to cover up the side of, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not a cologne guy, but I remember it was just like...
Yeah. I remember guys
like
getting cologne just for fucking weed.
If you have a 14-year-old that starts wearing cologne, it's because they're smoking weed.
And they would like carry it around in their car.
Yeah. Do you remember... I remember there was that... I had one of those like contraptions where it was a paper towel tube, and basically you stuff it with fabric softener sheets, and then rubber bound one on the other side. So like if you're smoking in your room, you would like exhale through this paper towel tube and dryer sheets, and it would clean the air.
Fucking worked, man.
It was amazing.
It was crazy.
Totally gone.
Yeah.
I feel like I got that from like the Anarchist Cookbook or something. Like, did you ever have that Anarchist Cookbook? I feel.
I.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
It was like right in within my reach. I never actually owned one.
Really?
But I had several friends that had one, and we made all kinds of stuff from that book.
I had like a bootleg copy that was like 20 generations of photocopy. You know, it was like a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy, and it was like. Wild. That was like pre-internet. It was just like the guide to mischief. I remember there was like, how to make TNT, like how to make explosives. There was like how to hotwire a car, how to grow weed was in there. Yeah, how to do everything. It was, I'm pretty sure that like if you even Google Anarchist Cookbook now, you're going to end up on some FBI list.
Yeah. I mean, can you still get that book?
I don't know. I'm scared to Google it because I don't want to end up like they'll take away my pre-check.
I feel like I definitely could write my own.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Just from growing up in Texas?
Yeah, I know how to make all kinds. Like, I think like one of the coolest that we used to make as kids growing up is you get like and you fill it up with about
Let's not up. Let's call them fireworks.
Right. Okay.
Because I feel like when you say that like that implies a different intent. This is just redneck recreation.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a homemade firework.
Yeah.
Where you get or any and you just fill it up with like about an inch and a half, 2 inches of
like just regular. Yeah.
And then you drop in like a that you used for like pellet guns and shit like that. Never like a nitrous cartridge because that was a waste of nitrous, you know. Okay. Had to be like just the
right.
And then you just light the on fire and leave it, and it takes about between 3 to 4 minutes for
and then it would just heat up the compressed air.
Hot enough for that to explode that thing, and I'm telling you, it is the loudest like pow bang ever.
I remember
that one was pretty good because then you could light it and then you'd have time to get far back and just watch the chaos.
Okay, we had to cut that out because I don't think YouTube will let us post what we learned from this book and how to be explosives. So the last part you won't know because it'll get edited, but we got to cut that out because I'm pretty sure it's illegal to talk about that. But yeah. That Anarchist Cookbook, so many of my childhood like G.I. Joe fantasies were like realized through instructions in that book. There was speaking of I'm trying to think of how I don't even know how to
It's really cool that you can talk about all this stuff that's like illegal on the internet though now.
But can you? I don't know. I'm still. I mean, I'm figuring it out. Like where the line is.
It's just crazy because it's just like it's just like an arrangement of 26 little code things, but like you can if you say certain things like it's like bad.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Like certain statements. I think
especially if it's how to make a.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I think your intention is hopefully what makes it a crime, not just like a casual playful conversation.
Yeah.
But that like reminded me of going to Cambodia when I was like, gosh, I mean, I was young. I must have been like 19 years old. It was like right when I first started tattooing. I remember I went to Cambodia, and there I had heard before you go these legends of like, oh, like you can blow up a cow in Cambodia. You know, it was like backpacking lore that like, you know, for $300 you could blow up a cow. And I was in like Phnom Penh, the capital, and I remember like, you know, sure enough, like I found this little flyer that was like, you know, shoot a machine gun, like shoot a rocket launcher. And I was like, well, I got to do this while I'm here. And I had been tattooing a while, and I would spend my winters in Asia, you know, so I didn't want to deal with like the winters in New York. So I'd save a bunch of money, and then I'd just go hang out in Thailand for, you know, 2-3 months. And so I remember going to Cambodia, and I had a car. I bought this like crappy old Toyota that only had a driver's seat. It was me and my buddy, and it was the only seat there. The rest of it was just like we would hang out. You used to just sit on the bare metal, and even then, like parts of it were rusted out, so it had like just these like pieces of wood, like bamboo and stuff, like strapped across. It was like the Flintstones car. You could watch the ground go. Anyway, we found this flyer to shoot machine guns and RPGs.
You look like Rambo.
Dude, so we go to the military base, and they have a whole like menu. They're like, yeah, like, what do you want? Like, you know, for, you know, an M16, you know, this many rounds ammunition, it's this much money. For an AK-47, it's this much. You know, grenades are like, you know, $20 a piece. You know, for a rocket launcher, it's $100 per rocket. And so I, you know, like, took $1,000 and just like, we went out to this rice field with this box full of like hand grenades, and, you know, like I bought like one rocket for the rocket launcher and an AK-47 and a bunch of rounds. And I was sitting there in this rice field, so excited to live out all my like G.I. Joe fantasies. And I was, you know, I was shooting this AK-47, but I was like just shooting the mud. And I was like, well, that's not that fun. So I was like, you know what? Like, fuck it. Like, let's blow up the car, you know? So I like drove my car into the middle of this field, and we were just like lobbing hand grenades at it. And finally I shot it with this rocket launcher. And yeah, it was probably like the best $1,000 I've ever spent. No, it's not like the movies. It just kind of was like, that's the thing is like the grenades weren't like this like ball of fire. It was just like sharp and violent. Like I was just struck by like how violent it was. Just like, brah. And then it sent little like scraps of metal like through the roof of the car and everything, you know, like little shrapnel. But yeah, that was a whole adventure. But then it ended up getting dark, because they did offer me the cow, you know, because I guess a lot of tourists wanted to blow up the cow.
Want to do that to a cow?
Yeah, well, like they'll be like, for $300 we can get you a cow, you know, to blow up. And I guess that was like a thing a lot of tourists wanted to do, is they would like walk this cow into the middle of rice field and like tie it up and then shoot it with a rocket launcher. And yeah, I was like, I'm good. I'm like,
yeah, I'd much rather blow up a fucking car.
Yeah, but it was one of those moments where it was like, it was fun for a bit, and then it started to like, there was a moment where we were like, oh, we need to get, this is not okay, because like after they offered us the cow, you know, the guy was like, do you want to kill a person?
Yo.
And I was like, no, what are you talking about?
Like,
and,
wait, how much though?
No, but seriously, like, he was like, for $1,000 they'll pull a criminal out of jail.
Oh, whoa.
And you can kill a human being for $1,000. And I got nauseous. I was just like, oh, we have to leave right now, you know. But just because if they're saying that means some point prior to that someone asked, or someone actually did it.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that they're offering it and it has a price tag was like, oh, this was just some redneck fun for a minute. Now I want to go home.
Yeah.
It was really dark.
That shit happens, man. It's
I'm sure.
crazy.
I mean, you definitely, I mean, even just knowing all the stuff that happened in Cambodia with like, you know, life isn't worth very much.
Yeah.
You know, in that part of the world. But yeah. Whew. What like so,
Have you heard how you can eat humans in certain restaurants? There's this one in
No.
Mexico City that's everyone's been talking about.
that serves human? Under what conditions do they ethically source human meat? I mean, I assume it's no different than like any other
But
meat.
everyone's been talking about it.
Come on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see what the internet says about that. Is this like some underground like?
It's like a fancy restaurant.
No way.
Yeah.
Where did like are they just like getting people from the hospital like car wrecks and stuff? Like what?
I'm not really sure. I was wondering that too. Like, where do they source their meat from? But it's probably not that much different than the hormone pumped stuff that.
Yeah, would that be
the grass
be more
puppies.
organic or less organic than the cows out in the field? Because humans definitely put a lot of.
That's a good question.
things.
Like, what like meat would be more?
Would I be certified organic?
more toxic and organic?
Yeah.
You would definitely be, because
I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty
You eat
clean
pretty
living.
good.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, there's lots of people. Yeah, like if you're on all kinds of medications and like antidepressants and stuff, I wonder if you'd still be able to get certified as organic meat. I don't know.
that's a good question.
Yeah. I don't know. God, where do we go after blowing up cars in Cambodia? There was actually, I mean, now that I think about it, there was another time when it didn't blow up, but we were in, I was in doing a guest spot. Maybe I shouldn't tell that story.
Oh, that's so funny.
Like, sorry, we had a great 45 minutes of conversation, but we had to edit it all out because we realized we're not allowed to say any of that on the internet. Anyway.
That this goes back with just being bored in tattoo shops and some of the mischief of back in the day, because, you know, when it was slow, that's when you would, you know, just do dumb shit and getting fucked up.
Yeah.
Because
I feel like it happens, like slow days in restaurants, you know, there's always like the wait staff in the back getting into trouble. But in the tattoo shops, it's like amplified.
Times 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like, you know, you got tattoo machines also.
You got tattoo machines, you got a bunch of cash.
Yeah. So we always did this one game where you would make basically a dart out of a tattoo needle. And the way you do it, and it works really fucking good. Like you can throw this thing from across the room and nail somebody with it, right?
Yeah.
And basically the way you do it is you get a cigarette, a pencil, the wooden kind with the little eraser on the end, and a tattoo needle. And you take the wood part off of the metal part,
right?
But have the metal part still onto the eraser,
right?
And then
so you have that little metal collar in the eraser,
and then you still have the eraser on there, right?
Right.
You just have the collet part, the metal part, and then the eraser, and then you take the cigarette and you carefully take off just where you smoke the cigarette, right?
Yeah.
And then take the filter.
Yeah.
And you stick it up into the metal part.
Right. Like so you have the eraser on one end and then the filter on the other part.
Right. And then you kind of bite down on it and pinch the filter.
The metal, yeah.
And then you carefully take that paper off of the filter.
Right.
And you fluff out that back.
Right.
That's the tail, right?
Yeah.
And then you take your lighter and you carefully take the needle, but you want to keep the grouping together.
Yeah.
So you just kind of heat it up just enough so you can tear off the needle bar.
Right.
And then while it's still kind of hot, you just stick that up into the eraser on the other end.
Yeah. That sounds like a blowgun dart. Like,
dude, it is the best. Like you could use it in a blowgun.
Yeah.
But it really works good even with just throwing it. and it will go forever. And whatever it sticks, it's going to stick that head first with the tattoo, right? So like, and then you would like, dip it in a little tattoo ink and just like launch it at somebody from across the room.
Yeah.
So like we used to do this all the time when it would get slow. And one time I was doing it, I was in Wisconsin tattooing a whole bunch of kids. And this wasn't in a tattoo shop, actually. We did it in a tattoo shop a bunch, but this one particular story was in Wisconsin, tattooing a bunch of my buddies that were about to go to prison. And I've been tattooing them all day, and it was like getting kind of late, and we were like, hey, let's just, Sean, you should just stop tattooing and just hang out, and let's just party a little bit. And I was like, all right, cool. They're like, do you got any like, tattoo games or whatever? And I was like, well, we could play human tattoo dartboard. And they're like, yeah, let's do it. Everybody was already drunk and everything, ready to do it.
So you're like dipping it in ink and then throwing it at people so it makes little dots?
So basically we would, I'm trying to remember how we picked the first person, but basically you have to, everybody takes their shirts off and lines up in a row. And then somebody is picked first, and they basically have to like down their drink or beer or whatever they're drinking, and then spin them around in circles. And then they take the tattoo dart and have to throw it at somebody. And like there's like each person has like a pointage, like
right, like this guy's 20 points, this guy's 10 points.
Exactly, and the guy in the middle, he's like bullseye 20 points, right?
Right.
So we're playing this for a while, and since me being the tattoo artist, I was trying to, as much as possible, make this a sterile environment for everybody. So each time I was taking off the used needle,
you were using a fresh needle,
and I would put a new one on.
You're so good.
So that that nobody got any weird shit.
Nobody's getting hepatitis in this game.
Man, I was trying to be very professional. And I was putting all the needles into this empty Coors Light can.
Yeah.
And I told everybody at the beginning, I was like, listen, guys, this is the needle beer.
Yeah.
Nobody touched the needle beer. This is like, just the dirty shit.
Yeah.
So like we were playing the game for like a good hour, man. It must have accumulated at least 14 or 15 different dirty needles into the needle beer, right? God. And each time I would take the needle out and put it into this little can.
Yeah.
So towards the end of the night, as we were winding down from playing tattoo human dartboard, I mistakenly went over and just grabbed the can and took a big last gulp. And whenever I lifted the can up, I just heard a big cling. And I was like, oh, and it was the beer and the juices were already in my mouth.
Hepatitis juice.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh my God. And I like went and spit it out, and then I was immediately like, oh my God, I just drank the needle beer. Everybody was just like, dude, you're the one who was
like, well,
telling
now you have what we have.
They're like, dude, you were the one who was telling everybody not to drink it, and you fucking drank it.
Oh my God. Your immune system.
And I was just, I was petrified, and I was like so scared that I'd gotten something. And as soon as I got back to California, I like went and got a test, and I was in the clear, and I was like, oh my God, thank God I was in Wisconsin.
Holy fuck.
Because if I would have been in New York or Los Angeles,
you have the most powerful immune system in the world.
Yeah, like but I drank the fucking needle beer.
You're going to be the last person alive after the apocalypse because of that. Oh God. I mean, I've done the cigarette butt beer, but needle beer.
Yeah. What other things did you do to your apprentices that were like?
I was trying to think. I never apprenticed anyone. I was just in shops where they did. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I mean, we had some slow days, and we would get into mischief, but it was never hurting each other. The poor apprentice went through hell, but it was never doing anything to each other. There was I remember there was a really slow day in San Francisco one time, and nobody had come in all day, and then these Vietnamese like little gang kids from the neighborhood, kids, they were over 18, they were like 18, 20 years old, but they came in all the time, and I had tattooed a few of them, and there was one that I became friendly with, and But he was always trying to get me to give him a deal. You know, he's like, yeah, okay, $100, but like you can do it for 80. I'm like, dude, come on, like I'm dying here. Like he would just always bust my balls on the prices. And one day he came in and he wanted to get, I don't remember what their gang, it was like VN or VF, it was V something. It was like these 2 letters that he wanted to get on his hand. And he was like, how much for that? And I was like, $100. And he's like, $100? Like, what the fuck? Come on. He's like, you've done all this stuff on me. Like, give me a deal. And I was like, dude, I was just so tired. And I remember looking through this lettering book, and it was like this Dover lettering book, and it had, there was one page where it was just like the cutest lettering I had ever seen. It was like Tinker Toy, little like log letters. It was like, you know, these made out of like sticks. And there'd be like a little bird on one and a little squirrel on the other with like little music, you know, the bird had little music notes coming out of its beak. It was just like the cutest little Disney nature letters you'd ever seen. And, you know, I'm just sitting there like looking through stuff and he's giving me a hard time. And I was like, I tell you what, you get your gang letters and log letters, I'll do it for free. And he was like, yo, for real? And I was like, what? Well, I mean, it didn't even occur to me. I was just like, yeah, but I mean, like, look, they're like log letters. Like, you would have to get the bird on top of it, singing songs on top of your gang letters. And he like talked to his boys a little bit. He's like, yo, I'll do that for free. And I was like, all right. So he sat down and I did his gang letters on his hand in the cutest little like Disney log letters. And he was so psyched. He was just so like, funny. He was so jazzed. He's like, yo, homeboy hooked it up for free. Like, what's up? I was like, yeah. But I think about him all the time, like, where is that hand these days? And, yeah.
Yeah, I did a lot of free tattoos, too, that were just, like...
Yeah.
Always, yeah.
I mean, it's fun. It's always, like... It's those slow days when you're like either customers, you know, you call that one dude, just be like, hey, I've always wanted to do this, you know, drag him with the boner. Like, can you come get it? And like, you know, yeah.
I had this guy that worked across the street from this one shop that worked at a liquor store. And he was always just down for whatever.
Yeah.
And I did so many weird, crazy tattoos on this guy. And, yeah, he's just like, loves him so much. Every time I see him, he like shows everybody.
Yeah.
And he's like just taking off his clothes. Like usually I have to like pry my friend's clothes off to show and tell.
He walks in the door just
I'm like, come on, can you like take off your shirt and show him your back, or take off your pants and show him your legs, you know? But this guy just willingly just strips down and shows everybody.
Naked in no time.
He's just such a great guy because he's just like...
Yeah.
And he didn't even like... He just got the craziest tattoos, but they were all basically for free because he just let me do whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
So... But nothing tops, like... I think the craziest thing is just like tattooing people for free in the dark.
Oh yeah, what was that? I remember you did that like performance thing.
So like that was even whenever I started doing it, I was like, what are you doing, Sean? This is so fucking crazy. But basically I'd done a couple events where I was using this metal chair that I basically found this fucking folding metal chair in the trash and decided to spray paint it silver, right?
Yeah.
And as soon as I spray painted this metal chair silver, like it became fucking cool. It was like a cool chair.
I remember you were doing Metallica tattoos in that chair, and you did one of the coolest things I've ever heard of, where basically like you came up with a sheet of Metallica flash, and you would charge people by how many Metallica songs
it took to do the
tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd just be like...
It started off with that.
Yeah, that's it. Like, it's like, so like, okay, you're like, it's $50 a song.
Yeah.
So if you do a tattoo that takes 4 songs to do, then it was a $200 tattoo.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
Basically made the coolest chair ever too, because I like made all these stencils on it. Because like, it was like an old school thing to like have like, this is like 100 years ago, they would get like some cool chair and they would like stencil electric chair on there or something like that, or the hot chair, the hot seat or something like that. And it was just like a novelty way of getting people to sit in this really crappy, uncomfortable chair and getting a tattoo, right?
Right.
It made it cooler. So I tried to do my own version of that, and it morphed somehow into me doing tattoos in the dark. And basically, I would not only the people be in the dark, but I made them put like a veil on so they couldn't see.
Like over their head, like executioner style.
And I was in a noose, so I couldn't even get too close to them because then I would start choking.
Right.
And I had all these knives basically wired and bolted down to my table, which I had a couple people almost went into the knives alone. It was very, very it was the most dangerous night of tattooing ever. And like I couldn't see because it was already dark in this corner of a fucking seedy biker bar that we were doing this event at.
Yeah.
But we decided to have like some black lights, which I thought would help a little bit, but I forgot that like whenever you have a black light, it actually makes your skin even darker.
Oh yeah, you get that dark purpley.
Yeah, you look like you're fucking tan as fuck whenever you're in a black light, dude. So I really could not fucking see what I was doing. I kind of
were you doing flash? Like were you using stencils?
I kind of had some ideas that I was like, because I've been obsessed with like drawing in the dark for like years.
Huh.
And like some of my favorite things that I like ideas I'm drawing out, I'll do it in the dark, and then the next day I'm like, whoa, this looks amazing. I don't even know what I'm trying to do, but it looks so fucking cool. So then I had the idea. Are we talking
abstract things or like actual representations of things? Like
I would try to make an actual representation, but whenever you're doing it in the dark, you can't see. So
like pitch black or just like dark. You can just kind of see what's going on, but just not
pitch black.
Pitch black
in the dark.
Okay.
My apartment is so fucking dark, man. Yeah. I have not only like blinds and shades over it, but I have like black sheets over that. Like you cannot see in there.
So you were drawing in the dark at your house, right? And you're happy with it, and you're like, oh, like it would be cool to tattoo like this.
Exactly. I was like, I'm gonna do like something that's I'm taking away all the things basically that make a good tattoo, and by like having light, and being able to see the actual tattoo. But also I used. Because I don't know, everyone that's been tattooed by me knows, like, I look at every single one of my fucking needles with an eye loop.
Yeah.
And the crappy needles with burrs or uneven needles and shit, I take those out, but I don't throw them away.
Right.
And sometimes I give them to people. Like, that was another thing that we used to do with, like, all the apprentices and shit. You, like, give them your shitty fucking needles and shit. Well, like, I used all my shitty needles on the people that I tattooed in the dark also.
Right.
So I was taking away like everything that was going to make this tattoo good.
Right.
And seeing where the chips fall, you know what I mean, when the smoke clears or whatever.
But was it also kind of like a challenge to see how far like these volunteers would go?
Yeah.
Because I mean,
it was
like
crazy. It was crazy. I didn't think I was going to have anybody, but there was like lines of people that
they were down.
And just getting a tattoo where you can't see what's going on.
Yeah.
Because so I put headphones on and they were just blasting like some really obscure black metal.
Yeah.
And then they had a veil on. Right. And then they're getting something that they don't even know.
Right.
Like that's like a crazy experience. Insane. It was really crazy. And like each time like I would do it, it was like I would turn on a light afterwards to see what it would look like.
Yeah.
And it was so fun.
So would you visualize, you'd be like, okay, like for this one, you're like, I would ask them a couple questions. A dragon. Oh, so, okay. So but you would aim for a specific design. Yeah. But then do that in the dark. And then how close was the outcome to the intention, to the intended design?
I mean, it was beyond. It was so fucking cool, man. And like basically it would be like a weird question, like I'd be like, do you believe in God or some shit like that, you know what I mean? And that was the question. And whether they said yes or no,
right,
they would like
inspired what you put on them.
If they believed in God, then they were gonna get the worst shit. You know what I mean? They're gonna get some crazy shit. But if they didn't, then they would get like, like a cat on a computer or something like that. But yeah, and it ended up being just such an amazing experience. I've been trying to do it again, and I made even a better metal table with like way more knives on it and shit. That's so fucking dangerous. Like everyone that comes over there. I would be
really curious to see.
Like my apartment is so fucking dangerous, dude. There's like so many weapons everywhere, and like if you fell over at night in my apartment, you're gonna fucking get impaled for sure. It's
note to any girls going to Sean's house late at night.
You're gonna either stab your foot on a fucking tombstone or fall over and be impaled onto many knives, because they're just so many dangerous things everywhere. And but yeah, we've yet to do the metal chair event again, but it's become pretty notorious now. Those tattoos in the dark.
Yeah.
And
did you have pictures of them?
Yeah. I posted some, and I never even told anybody.
Yeah.
Like why these looked so different.
But can you look at them and you'd be like, oh yeah, that one was a dragon. That one was a cat.
First of all, they're all like, just like the shine of the flash, because it was so dark. But and they just have such a uniqueness to them.
I'm just gonna say, if anybody out there has one of those tattoos, please DM me. I want to see them.
Yeah, they're amazing. And
I want to do like a where are they now?
The people now, I've made some pretty good customers from the people who got some of them. And,
I mean,
and it's funny because they have all these other, nice looking tattoos, and then this one crazy one in the midst.
But man, what a story!
And whenever they tell people the story, it's just like such a crazy, kooky like way of getting a tattoo. But it was amazing, and I still feel like just like doing art in the darkness, like pure darkness. There's something really sweet about that. Like it's just like you're just like. You're not using any of your senses. You're just like on your primal, like
just intuition.
Yeah, man. There's nothing guiding you. You're just like
you're letting the spirit world take over.
Totally free spirited. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's really fun, and I highly encourage anyone to try more drawing in the dark.
I'd let you tattoo me in the dark.
And writing in the dark in general.
I'd let you do that. Anyway, thanks for hanging out, man.
Yeah, always.